Love, Listen, Talk, Repeat podcast. I'm Wendy Capewell, your relationship specialist, and this podcast is all about things relating and affecting relationships. I'll be interviewing guests who are experts in their profession, learning more about what they do and how they help others. In some episodes, I'll be sharing some insights and tips of my own. So settle back and enjoy. Today I'm talking to the really lovely Tracy Newberry. She is just delightful, and she's a qualified baby sleep coach and a mother herself, who over the last 13 years of working with young children has founded her own method called the Nurture Method. She strongly believes sleep should be taught with love, kindness and the utmost respect. After working for 10 years as a nanny and briefly as a nursery school teacher, both in London and in South Africa, where she originates from, Tracy became aware that helping babies sleep without using any form of crying was a gift, and not everyone could do that. Once she made this realization, Tracy decided to pursue her passion of teaching sleep gently and opened Happy Baby and Me in 2014. Her business is mainly based on word of mouth and continues to move from strength to strength. So, Tracy, hello.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for having me.
It's really lovely to have you on here. And as we were talking just beforehand, you know, that so many things affect relationships. And I think if you have a baby that is not sleeping and is an unhappy baby, it reflects on the relationship. And also, the relationship, the unhappiness of the parents reflect on the baby. So it's a win-win if you can resolve them both.
Absolutely.
So I think it's great. I learnt from my own mistakes, and I know that first baby probably went through the mill because I didn't have your skills. So anyway, I'm going to start by asking you, why is it you only work with babies between 6 and 11 months old? What's the reason behind that?
Good question, Wendy. So the reason why I chose to specialize in working with babies between 6 and 11 months old was because the methodology that I have come up with works best for the younger babies up until 11 months old. After 11 months old, with the methodology that I've created called the Nurture Method, it just gets a bit harder to help them learn how to sleep better, because they are more aware, they are more mobile in the cot, they've got their own, strong opinions, strong ideas, and it's harder to kind of tell. It's easier when they're younger and you can kind of mold them. That's not really the right word, but you know what I mean? They're younger, they're not moving around so much in the cots. It's easier to help them in that way. So as they get older, it just becomes a little bit more trickier because they are just so much more aware and just these strong personalities, and they are telling you, what to do a little bit more. Whereas you trying to, kind of guide them, and they're kind of guiding you more. And then the reason why I work with babies, I don't work with babies before 6 months, is just because in the first 6 months of life, you're going through, becoming a mom is such a massive change in itself. And so, that alone is going to, shock most moms. And you're adjusting to motherhood, you breastfeeding, you working out all the small niggles of, if there's reflux, if there's allergies, if there's intolerances, tongue tie, all these kinds of things that have to be worked out before you can touch the sleep. Because if the baby's not well in itself, if the baby's got allergies that are not being, properly treated, or intolerances, there's no way you can help the baby sleep better before those issues are not addressed first. So in the first 6 months, sleep is starting to consolidate, it's starting to, starting to get the longer stretches. Sleep is making more sense in their brains. They're learning, in the first, 0 to 3 months, they're learning day from night. So to work on sleep before that, there are things you can do to help sleep be as good as possible in the first few months. But I really come in and work with babies after 6 months, because you just have that, sleep is making more sense to them. And it's the method that I've come up with works best for that age group.
Yeah. And I guess also if once they're past 11 months, it's more difficult because, as you said, but there's also the fact that they've learnt the patterns and they're harder to break as well. Not only is the mobility and their personalities, etc., but they've learnt those little tricks, haven't they? You know, well, if I do this, this is what will happen. So they've more difficult to help. Yeah. I understand that one. So there's a saying that goes, we don't know what we don't know. So tell me a bit more about that. What is it that most of your clients don't know or think about? You know, what is it that we don't know?
What is it that we don't know? Well, I think a massive part of baby sleep, and what we just don't know, and what a lot of parents just don't know to look at, is the environment in which the baby is sleeping in. The environment impacts sleep hugely, and we just don't know that it does, or we just don't see. We just kind of I've been to so many different, wonderful families' houses, but you get lots of clutter in the room, or you get lots of, some parents, meant to make up the room, and was like a storage room before, or it was just a guest bedroom before, and things just kind of happened quickly, and they didn't have time. And then, you definitely don't have time once the baby comes if you haven't kind of done the room before. Once the baby comes, you've got even less time, and so you just kind of get a cot plopped in the middle of the room somewhere, and it's just not conducive to sleep. And also a lot of the times I find there's there's no blackout blinds, there's thin curtains on the windows, so a lot of lights coming in while the babies are sleeping. You can get a lot of noise coming in, so the environment plays a huge part to the baby's sleep. Things like the room temperature will play a part in the baby's sleep, if it's too hot, if it's too cold. So to have like a thermometer is so important to know, how to dress the baby. That kind of thing. So in my work, I have my own 5 senses for sleep checklist of which I go through to make sure that everything in the room is, conducive to sleep and is helping the baby sleep, and there's nothing in there that's, taking away from the baby's sleep. And I also work with a feng shui specialist. So we'll take a look at the room for me and make sure that everything is in the correct place, so that the whole room is working perfectly for sleep. So I think a massive part of baby sleep that we just don't think of a lot is the room, is the environment of where the baby's sleeping.
Yeah, and I guess if there's a lot of clutter in the room, the baby's going to be distracted, for example. And, well, I don't know about you, but I find that in the winter months, I need more sleep, because I think our whole bodies are made to work with light. The light, and dark.
Yeah, for sure.
So we work with the seasons. So when it's dark, we feel more tired and we want to sort of curl up. And a lot of people have SAD syndrome, don't they?
Yeah.
So it makes more sense that you need to have that situation where the baby knows, well, actually it's dark. Therefore, the brain understands this is about going to sleep.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that makes sense. Total sense. And there is nothing worse, is there? I mean, we wouldn't want to sleep in a junk room.
Exactly. That's the thing. I mean, and the space creates an energy. When you walk into a room, any room, you feel the energy of the room. If it's a cluttered kind of, room where everything's a mess, you can't find anything, or there's, I've been into rooms where there's, boxes of old clothes and kind of from newborn days piled up right up until the roof, So when you walk into that room, you don't get a feeling of calm and serenity and just peacefulness. It feels a little bit, the energy feels a little bit chaotic.
Yeah.
in there. So the energy of the room definitely plays a big part of baby sleep. Travel cots, a lot of some parents use travel cots, which are just not supportive for sleep. They're not comfortable. So it's all these small things, like a good mattress, all these small things that you can do to help a baby sleep better. And you think that there's a sleep problem, like, why isn't my baby sleeping? Like, she keeps waking up every hour. But then when you look at the entire day and night and the environment, you usually find the answer somewhere in there. And sometimes the nighttime sleeping just improves alone by just fixing the other factors surrounding sleep, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah, I feel that for myself, for example, if a room's upside down, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel I want to sleep. So why would a baby? I mean, I don't often think that adults realise how babies pick up on our mood, even the fetus. That if a mother's anxious when she's pregnant, that can transfer onto the baby, can't it? Making it an anxious baby when it's born.
Absolutely.
Become more knowledgeable in recent years, but I know it certainly wasn't when mine were babies. We didn't think about those things. We weren't so aware that the baby was really, really noticing and hearing things and recognizing voices and moods. So a young baby is certainly going to feel that.
Like little sponges.
They are, aren't they? Absolutely. Sense everything. So how do you know you're going to get the results a family are they're looking for? How do you do that?
So the way I work is I give the parents I'm working with. I say mom, but I mean it's interesting. Dad, mom, parents, but it's just often the mom that comes to me. So that's why I often speak of the mom, but it's also can be totally dads. The way I work is I give a lot of support. So I do 2 home consultations. So I do the first home consultation and I go in and we do a nap together while the baby's sleeping. So when I do a nap, I get to look at the room. I get to put the baby down for a nap together, because often the naps are not great. If the nighttime sleep's not great, then often the naps are not great. I look at the routine if there's a nap time routine, which often there isn't. So I put in place a little nap time routine, which helps the baby understand and the baby's brain to kind of switch down gears and, get ready for sleep. Because often parents will just kind of look at the baby and think, oh, you're tired, or see it's 10 o'clock and think, oh, it's time for a nap, and just kind of go and plop them in the cot, and the baby's just like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand what just happened. So a nap time routine is super important. So I establish a little nap time routine, and then the baby sleeps, and we chat about everything, the day, the night, and a plan moving forward. Then on the second consultation, I come in 2 weeks later and check up on the mom, check in and see what's working, what's not working, what still has to be tweaked. I make sure that the room is looking great at that point, because the mom will go, when I go away, the mom will set the room up properly. So when I come back, I'll check on the room to make sure everything's looking really good in the room. And then after that, I give them, the parents, 8 weeks support. So every day we're jumping on WhatsApp, and she tells me about the day, the night, any questions. I'm there for her as much as she needs. And in that period of time, we get the baby sleeping really well, and it works really well because it's just so much support and there's no stopping. It's just, just going forward, and just making all the gentle tweaks that you need to make to get to, the age appropriate goals that you would like for your baby. Because of course we need to remember that babies are babies, and that you can only have age appropriate goals. You can't expect a 6-month-old to sleep all the way from 7 until 7. I mean, some babies will do that, and that's amazing, but it's not the norm. It's the kind of you're the lucky one if your baby does that. It's more typical, more common for your baby still to have those night feeds, which is normal because they're just a baby. So I think it's just because I have so much support for the moms and the parents that there's no way we can go backwards. We just have to keep going forwards, because we just always talking and tweaking and moving forward. And if there's a problem that comes up a few weeks later because of teething or travel or moving or illness, something like that, we just jump on a call or jump on WhatsApp together, and we just keep tweaking gently and keep moving forward.
Okay, so it sounds like you give an awful lot of support to these parents, and that you're there for them. And I wonder what that's like for them to know that you're always there, and that if they have a little bump in the road and things aren't going as well, maybe because I guess you can have all great times and it's all working well, and all of a sudden you're, oh no, it's not working, we've gone backwards.
Absolutely.
So to get your reassurance is really nice, because that's very helpful to know that you're there and to reassure them when they're feeling, well, actually, no, it's gone wrong, it's not working.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So do you find that once they've got into that routine, and that once they're into that understanding about sleep, and that it's a nice thing to do, and that it's all relaxed and so on, do you find that after that period that they're much better sleepers and happier toddlers even by that time? Because they probably are, they're starting to walk by they're 11 months, 12 months, babies quite are often walking. So
take their first steps, but yeah, absolutely. Exactly. I mean, I think it makes such a massive difference on the child's life and also on the parent's life, because you see your child happy and giggling and relaxed, and you as parents feel more relaxed because you're getting the rest that you need, and you can be the parent you want to be because you've got the energy, you've got the time, you've got, you feel rested, you feel yourself, you've got your spring in your step. Without sleep, we feel awful. And so it definitely makes, a difference on the whole family, that's why my job is so rewarding. It's so wonderful to see, because even some of the little ones that I've worked with before have got really bad eczema, and we get it under control, or they get ill quite a lot, but then once they start sleeping well, these things they ease, and it's their health improves even because they're just getting the sleep that they need, so their bodies are healthy and are able to fight off the colds, or easier than when you run down and tired, just like us,
Yeah, that really does make sense, because I think sometimes with eczema that can be related to sort of nervous, it can breakouts when you're feeling anxious or nervous. So therefore that would make sense that they're going to be happier, and therefore if they're sleeping better, and as you say, they're not fighting things, because sometimes when you get that fractious baby, they won't eat properly. They're fighting everything, aren't they? They're fighting, trying to sleep when they're tired, or they want to go to sleep.
They're clingy.
Yeah, the whole thing. So, and I suppose as a relationship specialist and working with the adults and knowing how much those parents can have such a strain put on them when they have that lovely little bundle of joy that arrives in their lives and turns their lives completely upside down, however much they're wanting that child. And just recognizing that the problems it can cause, the sleeplessness, the fractiousness, the constant tiredness, because we know as mums how tired we are after we've given birth.
Oh yeah.
It's just exhausting.
Yeah.
And then not sleeping as well because the baby demands us. But then dad can feel quite left out. And because whether it's the partner, I should say, because it might not be dad, but the partner can feel left out because they've been the centre of attention, and all of a sudden this little bundle is saying, no, it's me. I'm going to have all your attention. You're not going to have a look in here. Yeah. So I think once you can reassure parents that and help them through those difficult periods, and even though you don't work with them until they're 6 months old, I believe on your website you give tips and so on about how you can help anyway. So I think that's really nice that you can support parents going through that, and because it is tough and it does affect it affects whole families. And
whole families, exactly. I mean, even the strongest relationships, the ones which are amazing, having a baby will even still affect those relationships, because it's just such a massive change to your life, and you've got to kind of, figure out how to kind of, get back to some normal and, in the new you as a family.
Yeah, definitely. So I think helping that baby sleep through the night and naps, I just think creating a calmer atmosphere, really, that's what it's about, isn't it?
100%.
Just Yeah. So you talked about that, sleeping through the night, but it's not always about that. And you also said you don't talk about baby sleeping right through the night, because I guess babies are all different, aren't they? But do you find, though, that those that maybe have broken sleep, do they calm down more when you've put your whole methodology in place?
So for me, so we have to think of what is age appropriate for babies in the first year of life. And in the first year, you have different developmental stages. You have different, so I have this progression pyramid, sleep progression pyramid, and it looks a bit like in the first 0 to 3 months, babies they have no idea about night and day. They are said to be in their fourth trimester because they are, they've just come out of your womb. It's been dark, it's been quiet, they've had food, constantly, and now it's a whole new world for them. So that transition is a big transition. And also sometimes in the beginning, we trying to figure out the awake times, like what time, if my baby's been awake for this amount of time, when does it need to go back for a nap? And sometimes babies get overtired and then they cry a lot, and it looks like colic, and because they'll have these big cries. But to be honest, I don't 100% agree that there is colic. I think that there's always something else going on with the baby who's crying like that. So overtired, in pain, some kind of digestive issue, allergy, and intolerance, something else going on with the baby. So in the first three months, you've got that. And then by 4 months, the baby's sleep is starting to consolidate a little bit more. So it's starting to make sense in the brain a little bit more. And then between 4 and 5 months, you get a massive sleep progression, a big developmental leap. And it's a very healthy, it's a good leap. It's a good thing that happens to the baby, because all good things are happening in the brain, or switching on in a different way. But it causes the baby to, the brain is just going crazy with all this new information that's coming in and sorting it all out. And it affects sleep. So you've got this big developmental leap, and it affects sleep badly. So you get to 4 months and it seems a little bit better. And then it's likened to newborn sleep again, because it's you go through this developmental leap. And then you have you get out of that, and then you have weaning at 6 months, and the weaning can affect sleep because of just the digestive system and getting used to the new food, that kind of thing. Then 7 months is a really good time to work on sleep. It's the best time to work on sleep, in my opinion, is 7 months old.
Right.
Then between 8 and 9 months old, you have separation anxiety, where babies feel as though if they can't see you, you're just gone forever. And it's stressful for them, and they can't understand that you're just in the next room, or that, you'll come when they need you. So that affects sleep a lot, because they need more reassurance and they need more comfort. So they'll wake often, more often for your attention. And then you get through that, and then you get, so that's 8 to 9, and then 10 to 11 months is also another good time to help babies sleep. And then you get to 11 months, where it starts to get a little bit trickier with the methodology that I've created. It's not impossible to help babies sleep after that, but just with this methodology that I've created, it's easier in that, before 11 months.
Yeah.
So within that period, for me, what a normal night's sleep looks like, a good night's sleep for a baby is the baby sleeps, the baby wakes to feed, and the baby goes back to sleep and then sleeps and then maybe has another feed at some point. But a baby that's awake all night long or for big chunks of time in the night, or is just not sleeping, or is just not napping, and the nights are crazy and it's just, hours of rocking or hours of doing crazy dances around the house,
or even taking the baby for a drive. I've heard that as well.
Or in the buggy. All these kinds of things. So if the nights are seeming stressful, because if you wake up and feed your baby and the baby goes back to sleep and you go back to sleep, that's not stressful. That's just, it's tiring, but that's normal. That's the normal first, this normal baby life, but it's not stressful. It's not like you're up for hours and you're like, I don't know how to get you back to sleep. I'm putting my hair out. I don't know what to do. Why won't you sleep? All these kind of things. That to me is that's a sleep issue.
Yeah.
But feeding, like waking to have a feed and going back to sleep again. And I'm not saying feeding every 40 minutes or feeding, for a baby who's not a newborn. So it's typically you get you have 2 or 3 feeds from 6 months onwards up until 14 months old. So that's to me is still very normal. And so it's good to know what's normal and what is a sleep issue. If it feels stressful or you just don't know how to get your baby back to sleep, or the baby's just waking up often, very frequently, then that to me is a sleep issue. But not if the baby's just waking up once or twice a night for a feed. That to me is not a sleep issue. It's just normal baby sleep.
Yeah. And I guess that is the problem with mums, because they so often they're comparing themselves to other mums or caregivers, that, well, my baby does this and my baby does that. So then they get quite more anxious because their baby isn't doing what their friends' babies are doing. And I think there's nothing worse than that comparison. I can remember that. It used to freak me out no end. And it just goes on and on, with children. Oh, my child is so bright. My child is the brightest child in the world. Yes. And it's lovely to be proud of them, but actually they all level out. And I think
they all do, exactly. That's the thing.
And I think that's the thing to normalise. And I think that's so nice that you've explained that there isn't any, it's about the sleep quality and the relaxation and the sense of being happy that's more important, rather than the number of times and how long the baby sleeps. I think that it's lovely you've normalised that, because I think too many, especially new mums, can get really uptight about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I wonder now, Tracy, because could you give our listeners 3 top tips which, if they apply them, might make a difference to their baby's sleep, starting today and tonight?
Yes, I would love to. So the 3 top tips that I would choose, so first of all is to have a bedtime routine. And that sounds really obvious, but still a lot of families don't have a bedtime routine, and it makes a massive difference to a baby's sleep. So having a bedtime routine, but then also having a bedtime routine that works, because sometimes parents will start with a bath, and then you start to build up the sleep bubble with the bath, and then they do dinner. So you kind of start, or you'll do dinner and then a lovely bath, and then go into the room and get them dressed and everything seems really good, and then back into the lounge to play some more, or into the parents' room to read stories on their bed, which is lovely. But you're breaking that bedtime routine. You stop starting it. So you want it to be a flowing activity, one flowing activity that's leading up to bedtime, and not stop starting, because the baby just will lose the whole idea of it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you want to create this sleep bubble. I like to call it sleep bubble. I also like to use a lullaby So when you go in and you get, the baby, when you take the baby out the bath, you have a lullaby so that, you play it every day, and the baby associates that lullaby with sleep time. So it's like, oh, my music, oh, it's time to go to sleep. It's just a lovely sleep association. You can take it everywhere with you, because if you've got your music, if you're going away for the weekend or to your parents' house or on a holiday, you've got your music and you just do your bedtime routine, play the music, baby understands, it's bedtime. So that's a great tip.
And I think, just to interrupt you, but thinking back, because when my kids were babies, we didn't have the portable music, so we'd sing to them.
Yes.
And I think there's something, even if you haven't got the music, I think that's so nice, because you're just singing to them and rocking them. I think there's something very reassuring. And
it's so soothing.
Yes. And as you say, there is that feeling of, oh, this is time to go to sleep. And So, great to if people feel they don't want to sing, or they feel uncomfortable, or just to have that. And do you suggest the same music?
The same music. I suggest the same music. Yeah. So it's kind of like Pavlov's dog. When you rings the bell and the dogs come and they know they start
celebrating. Yeah.
And they know that their food is coming. It's similar to that. Like my music, it's sleep time. It's similar to that.
Yeah, that makes real sense. And it's the same if anyone has a pet, because there'll be certain things that they will respond to. They'll know that if they behave in a particular, I don't know, if they show their paw like a dog, they know they're going to get a treat. For example.
Exactly.
It's that kind of.
They know it's time to go for a walk, or to say exactly.
Yeah, so it is that triggering. So that makes real sense. That's great. And sorry, onto your next tip.
So my next tip is to create ambience throughout the room, throughout the whole house, and also the baby's room. So I would, after dinner time and before going to run the bath and begin the bedtime routine, I would close all the curtains in the house, all the blinds, lower all the lights, dim all the lights, switch the lights off that you don't need. Just you start creating this sleepy, atmosphere, this ambience that the whole house is now going to sleep. And then go into the baby's room, close the curtains, close the blinds, put up your blackout blinds if you use them and your curtains are not, thick enough or black out the light enough. Switch on a dim lamp, get everything ready that the mom needs or the dad needs for bedtime. So the nappies, the nappy cream, the pajamas, the milk, if the baby's bottle fed, have it up there warming. So when you come out of the bath, every single thing is ready for the parents to get the baby ready for bed. There's no kind of running out and getting this, or running here and getting this, or opening drawers to get this. It's just, it's one calm activity to get the baby ready for bed. And so I think that's also really important, because it helps baby's brain to just kind of decompress and calm down, and gives it all these cues that it's sleep time. A friend of mine, Elian Spencer, calls it the sleep staircase, and I like that, because you're coming down the staircase, and that's exactly what you want to do with the baby. You want to bring the baby down, and help the baby kind of brain switch off for the day, and then the third tip I would say is what the baby is sleeping on, what the baby is sleeping in, and the temperature of the room. So a lot of parents also don't realize that the temperature of the room plays a massive part towards the baby's sleep, just like us. We can't sleep if we're too hot, and we feel like we're stuffy, or we're overdressed, and also we can't sleep if we're too cold either. So to get a little, thermometer for the room, to a temperature gauge that you can tell what the temperature is. The temperature should be around 18 to 20 degrees. And then I recommend using a sleeping bag, to put the baby in a sleeping bag and not blankets, because then you are, and you get the correct tog. So just like our mattresses have a tog, these sleeping bags also have a tog, and you match the tog with the temperature. So the colder the room gets, the higher the tog will go. The warmer the room gets, the lower the tog will go. And So to dress the baby in 100% cotton, because it helps the baby's skin breathe. It's not itchy. It's not, any synthetic, kind of scratchy material on the baby's skin. So, and cut off all the labels so nothing's itching them and scratching them. The mattress is also really important. Often we spend a lot of money on our own mattresses, but don't really think about our children's mattresses. So investing in a high quality, good mattress is also really important. Putting baby in a sturdy cot and not a travel cot, good quality cotton sheets that are, not crumpled up and scrunched up and all kind of, got some crumbs in there from, the nap from before, or all these kind of things. So that the room temperature, what you're dressing your baby in, 100% cotton, don't, making sure the baby's not too warm or too cold. And there's guidelines about how to dress the baby with the TOG, and I can share them as well on the link if parents are interested. But yeah, really, really important. They seem so simple. It seems really simple when I say it, but it can make such a massive difference to a baby's sleep.
Yeah, I think you're so right, because if the baby's uncomfortable, as you say, too hot or too cold, we can't sleep if we're like that, but that baby can't move. If you've wrapped it up and it can't move. My kids are really grown up now, but they used to really say you had to wrap the baby tightly to make it feel secure.
Oh, yes.
All of that. But I think there's some value in that, if feeling safe, but also if it's too tight or it's too uncomfortable or it's scratching or it's not nice fabric, and they're kind of uncomfortable in it, then they're not going to be in the right frame of mind to sleep, are they?
No.
They're going to be distracted, like, oh, that label's itching me and I can't sleep. And just as we would. So I think we sometimes forget that.
That's the thing.
Yeah. And with the sleep pattern, I think I love that, where you say get the whole mood in sleep. Yeah, get it all ready for sleep. Because when I have clients who are saying they're really anxious, and I say, well, what's your sleep routine? And they say, oh, well, I'm on my phone at night, or I've got the TV in the bedroom. And I say, just remove it, because how can your brain calm down?
Exactly.
You're kind of, it's like having an electrical appliance plugged in continually.
Exactly.
Because how can you be in the right frame of mind? I mean, fine if you sleep well, that's not a problem if you're not stressed and you're calm. Yeah. But if you've got issues, then don't take your phone to bed. Don't watch movies in bed. Don't have the TV. Well, I think for couples anyway, you don't have the TV in there, because that's any electronic equipment, because that's a place for you to cuddle and be close and connected.
Reconnect,
Yeah. So it all makes really good sense. So very good. Thank you for that, Tracy. And I just want to ask people, I'm going to put all your details in the show notes, but can you let people know now how they can get in contact with you?
Yes, thank you. So you can reach me on my website. It's happybabyandme.com. Or email me, tracy@happybabyandme.com. And like you said, we'll put the notes below, but that's my email address, and you can always get me there, or my website, you can get me there.
Great. So thank you so much. I hope our listeners have enjoyed this as much as I have. It's been such a delight talking to you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. So much fun.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So thank you, Tracy.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you.
So you can find all the information about this show in the show notes. And you can find lots more on my website, www.yourrelationshipspecialist.co.uk, including the link to my podcasts. And you can also sign up on my newsletter, which has lots more tips and offers. So until next time, bye for now.